So I've really been trying. There's been something bugging me, like bugging the shit out of me, and I've really been trying to think about like how do I express what I'm thinking and how I'm feeling because I feel like this is going to come out as a rant and not even a very well thought out one. But one of the things, like where I'm at right now, one of my competitors, the person who's the number one in the area, everyone's like, she's got the best stuff and all the things, and she's trash. She's absolute garbage. Professionally, I don't know her as a human being, like all the things. It's gonna like it sounds mean me saying that she's garbage professionally, but I've seen her work and it's garbage. I don't need to see her process or know her as a person or know her family. The work is atrocious, but people like her. She's, you know, has a community presence. Her family's lived in the area for a while. People know her, and her whole gimmick, which it's not new to her. It's something that I see online a lot, and a lot of people using this mentality of mom with a camera, no professional training, not even that great of gear, not great quality, but the idea that you are going on a journey with her, quitting her day job to let her have more time with her kids, which is what I think that appeals to a lot of women, right? Like that, just that fantasy of that. So, more so than selling pictures or selling a product, what she's actually selling to you as a customer is the idea that you could do this too, and you're going to live vicariously through her and her experience, and she's going to be nice and she's going to be polite. Because here's the thing, like I understand that there is a kind of a bedside manner, a professional manner where your interactions with customers absolutely matter and you're absolutely trying to get them an experience. And I also realize that this is probably my biggest deficiency. I'm a much more analytical person. I'm a much more, how do I make this better? So, give an example here. Most people, when they're going to a portrait shoot, specifically boudoir, is what they actually want to be told is that they're beautiful. What they want is to come in, and typically, most boudoir photographers are women. So, you have a woman who comes in and she's self-conscious, because all women are self-conscious, and they come in and they're like, I'm doing this for me. You always hear they're doing it for me. Really, that's never true, because eventually what ends up happening is they want to use those pictures for dating profiles and for, to send to whatever significant other that they have, whether they already have one or whether they're, on the dating scene. But, you always hear the idea of, I'm doing this for me. So what they really want, what most women want when they come in, this is specifically female, is, I want somebody to tell me how pretty I am. Oh, you look so great. Constant positive feedback. And women love the experience. And they don't really care what the photos look like at all. And men, they just want their wife to be happy. Like most men, like they want a couple of photos to send to family. Like that matters to them. But like they don't care in the sense of, I'm going to keep looking at these photos and I want this dreamlike thing. Most guys, like they know their wife wants that. So they're like, you want that? Yeah, how much is it going to cost me? Like, how can I just throw money at this and have you be happy? Which is generally how men work. So they're not going to look and be like, but, this guy's a professional. They're going to like, this girl makes you feel comfortable, go with her. Men typically care when it gets technical because it's business, which is typically where I tend to work more with businesses because I go on my technical aspects. So, this idea of like, well, I had somebody come up to me and say like, I want to, create adult content. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, were you looking to work with me? Because, like, she was asking but not really asking, and it's like she's trying to pull out something and I'm not really sure what she wants. I'm just like, were you wanting to hire me for this? Like are you wanting me to do that? And then she like asked me like, well, do you think I'm pretty enough to? And I'm sitting here thinking like, as a guy, there's no right answer to that. Because if I say yes, then like women can take that the wrong way, and then you're trying to explain how you didn't mean it. And really, like, I don't care what I'm taking a picture of, whether it's a woman, whether it's a plastic dongle I'm selling on Amazon. Like, I don't care. I'm going to try and do my job, and I'm going to try and create a, artistic vision that I'm going to try and capture. But honestly, as somebody who's for hire and I'm not just doing my own projects, I don't really care what you're hiring me for. I'm going to do the best I can with it. So that's the first thought that I have. Two, I'm thinking it doesn't really matter what you look like. Because here's the thing, I'm going to make you look as vary as I can, like whatever it is. So I'm going to accentuate your good features. I'm going to hide your bad features. And I know what I'm doing to make you look good. That's my job. Like the idea that photography is reality. Like all photography, all video is a lie, because you're everything is a choice. Like everything from the camera to the angle to the lens, to makeup, what I'm showing, what I'm not showing, how I edit it. It's all to portray something. Then there's all sorts of technical features about like distance and what's in focus. And my point is that every part of a camera and a lens and a subject is manipulation. And I learn how to manipulate it how I want to. That's 100% what I do as a camera person. So this idea is, are you good enough? That's not the question. The question is, am I good enough to make you look how you want? The answer is yes. So, but what you want is to feed your own ego and have a feedback loop from me to tell you how great you are and how wonderful you are, and to feed that. And it's like that if we're getting into business together, I don't want to start there, because what ends up happening with that is like, if we're going to go down a business thing where you're paying me enough money to make enough content for you to sell, I'm expecting to get paid, and I'm expecting to get paid regularly. If you're not getting a return, an ROI on that, you're going to be mad, and you're going to say it's my fault, and you're going to say, you're all the things. So regardless of how good the pictures are, you still have to post them, you still have to market them. Like, I can help with that. I work on all those things, but like, you can't just be like, oh, why is no one buying my thing that I've posted nowhere and all. Like I've literally had people get mad at me because I shot photos for them. They never posted them anywhere. And then they got mad at me that they didn't sell. I'm like, you didn't even advertise them, you never even created an account, you did nothing on your end, and now you're mad at me. This is how people think. But rather than take any sort of stock in themselves or their own actions, they're much more inclined to point where they can to save face, and it's typically me. So the idea that I want to get into a thing where I'm just feeding somebody's ego because all I'm wanting is a paycheck, there's a moral quandary and problem that I have with that premise. That's first. The other problem that I have with this is regardless of what you look like, whether you're the quote-unquote Barbie dream girl, right? Like the 10 of 10 college girl that's every man's fantasy, quote-unquote. Okay, like, if you have that to work with, obviously it's an easier sell. However, if you're not that, it's all about marketing to people. Like, whatever you look like, whoever you are out there, you are somebody's ideal. I promise that's 100% true of who you are. Now, the problem sometimes is matching those two things up, right? So like, let's say, and again, I'm just going to go with stereotypes here, but let's say you're an overweight person. trying to lose some weight myself right now, so I'm not trying to pick on anybody, but let's say you're technically obese as a woman, and you're trying to sell that image to people. Well, there's people who like obese women, but largely speaking, those are obese men, and you know, psychologically, as much as you would think this wouldn't offset, depending, like, you know, like everybody's got that sliding scale of, you know, the 1 to 10, right? So just because somebody is objectively, and when I say objectively, I mean perceived globally. So if the average person looks at this person, they are a 3. They don't want another 3. Nobody wants another 3. They want what they want. Like everybody, no matter how desirable they are, no matter what traits they have, they want the ideal. So recognizing that you're not ideal, and then recognizing that you might need to lower your standards, most people don't do that. Most people won't do that. Most people psychologically won't. But if all you're trying to do is get someone to want you, or to, you know, think that you're an ideal, that exists. The more rare that you are in terms of body features, the higher the amount people are going to pay for it. So like people with weird scars, people with disfigurations, people... So this was a funny one. I found this out because somebody came to me, but they were going through cancer and they couldn't pay for treatment. So I found out there's a huge... Well, I shouldn't say huge, but there is a interest in such people who have cancer and look like they're, you know, Skeletor on death's doorstep, and going through all the weird medical problems that happen with chemo. My wife was going through chemo at the time. That's why I was in the cancer ward. And this person came to me. They're like, "Do you think you could do that?" And I did some research, and I found out there's a market for it. And while you're not going to get as many people who want to see that, the people who do want to see it are willing to pay more for it. It's like, okay, no judging, you know, all the consenting adults are doing the things. You know, so I can promise you if that market exists, whatever you are, whatever issues you think you have, you know, age, weight, fitness level, whatever you think it is, there's somebody out there who you can market towards, but you have to find them. You have to actually market to your niche and understand your niche and actually do market research and all the things. So this idea is, do you think I'm hot enough to, you know, to make a living doing this? It's like, do you have a work ethic is more like, are you actually going to treat this like a business and not just want feedback? Because I'll tell you this, the opposite is also true. So, you know, you talk about the Barbie dream girl that 90% of people find attractive. Well, there's 10% that find her revolting. You know what I mean? Like, if you are posting and putting yourself out there online, you're going to get trolls. Like, whoever you think of as being the most beautiful, loved person on the internet, there are men out there who call them fat, there are men out there who call them hideous and trolls and all the things. Guaranteed. You know, or too skinny, or it doesn't matter. Like people fixate on what they want to fixate on, and that's their prerogative. But you need to appreciate that if you're putting yourself out there and you're trying to commoditize your looks and your whatever, you're going to get negative feedback. Like just me, I know that the way that I talk, I'm autistic, you know, autistic savant, and there's good things that come with that. Again, it comes into the technical levels of things. Like I'm able to focus and I'm able to learn, I'm able to have my own creative arcs, but like I'm not, you know, the Tony Robbins of speaking. I'm not. Like I 100% understand that. And there's certain people who a couple minutes in are going to 100% click off because, you know, they see lower value in the way that I communicate. And, you know, if that's what you think, that's fine. Like I've been in plenty of college classes with very successful people, and they have, you know, speech impediments, or, you know, they're quirky, or whatever it is. And it's like, you know, you can't dismiss people based upon that. I specifically go out of my way to have a very pared down channel because I'm able to relay things more doing videos like this than putting a ton of effort into noise and transitions and, you know, music and all the things. Now I can't do all of those things. I can make something feel very clean and very fast paced and a good flow to it, but it takes time. And I also feel like I don't care. Like, I'm at a point in my life where I'm like, I actually much prefer my rough edges. I much prefer, either you like me or you don't like me, and like this idea that I'm going to put on some pretense or some whatever that, somebody's going to give a shit about. I don't care. I don't care at all. But at the end of the day, the person telling you how beautiful you are might not make you look beautiful. Like, they're not necessarily going to do their job. And I feel like there's a shift in this country generally. I feel like because everything's getting automated, because everything is becoming, like if you worked at Walmart, there's less cashier lines. Like, everything's going into the self-checkout. All the work positions are just becoming more and more and more automated to the point where it's like, well, we think we can be artistic and we think all the things. And we're getting to a place where we're being told and we're being taught that a camera can do all that work for you. So it's like, first things first, we have the person who decided that, I got laid off at whatever job I had before, so I'm just going to be the quote-unquote cameraman now, or I'm a photographer now with no experience. Okay, good for you. Or two, the guy who's wanting to hire a photographer or who needs a photographer is thinking, I don't even need a photographer, good, bad, or otherwise, because one, the quality is hit or miss depending on who you hire, and two, I've been told that I can get just as good as results with an iPhone and an app and a filter and all the crap, which is 100% not true. And it gets in this feedback loop of like, nobody can get out of it, nobody's successful, and it leads to like a lot of dark places. And it's like the idea of going to somebody who's a professional who does that thing, and they're responsible and they know what they're doing, and they went through the process of getting insurance and a license and going through government whatevers, so that if there's a mistake, if there's a problem, like I used to sell roofing, and what I found in that industry is what, well, I guess what the company found is like, we were the biggest, most reputable dealer in that area, and if we came and we gave you a new roof and we messed it up and messed up your house, guess what? You're 100% insured. So they would go to their insurance. Like, I never heard of a problem with them. Like, I'm not trying to say that, but if there were such a thing, they would go to their insurance company and they'd fill out a claim, and you'd be covered and you'd be taken care of because they're professionals. And because they're professionals and because they take all these things and go through all these steps, there's no problems. Then you got the guy who works out of a truck and maybe worked for a company like that for a little bit, and they've maybe put on a roof or two, and then they're like, well, I'm going to make a little bit of money, but like, I'm charging half up front for this job, and because I'm undercharging, I'm going to take half from that other job to finish the first job, and then when I run out of money, the last guy who paid me the advance to do the thing, I'm going out of business, and then the last guy didn't get a roof at all, and there's nobody to sue, and I can just, claim an LLC bankruptcy, and if you don't get your stuff, then you're out of luck, and good luck, because there's no insurance, there's no coverage, and who knows, right? And it's a fly-by-night, and they're already gone. They worked for 2 or 3 months, they made what little money they could, and then they're gone. So the idea of going to a company that's responsible, because the idea is, everybody thinks, I'm going to get a good deal and I'm going to go, but it's like that back alley, like, there's no warranty and it's probably broken, it might be stolen, I feel like that's turning into what we do. And people want to be, one, coddled and told an experience, and two, people want cheap because they're in their own feedback loops and everything's downsizing and everybody's feeling so negative. And I just see this idea of trying to sell somebody on your own experience, the idea that I want you to feel less than me. I want you to look at me and think, I'm better than you and you're less than, and there's something in you that's missing, and you need to hire me so that I can rub off some of my mojo on you. And it's like, I feel like there is a deeper connection than I want with a customer. There just is. Like, I don't want to, like, rattle some bones and make you believe that you're going to work now, and then, you turn around and you go out in the world and you're like, showing people your wedding photos. Like, is this any good? I don't know. I paid a lot for it, and I think I like it. I need you to give me permission to like it. I feel like I hear this sort of logic so much in a creative space that, I don't know, like, it just feels like that's where the world's going.